Welcome back to The Next Bloom. I'm your host, Delia Farquharson, and I'm really happy to be back with you today, even as my mind thinks about Jamaica, the Hurricane Melissa that caused such devastation across the island, and my people who are suffering and struggling to recover. My heart is with them, and I am doing my part to donate and to support those who are in dire need. I encourage you to do the same. So, welcome back. Today we're opening a conversation that almost everyone thinks about, but few say out loud. It is about how does retirement reshape our intimate relationships, our marriages, our long-term partnerships, and the way we understand love itself. Because here's the truth. Retirement is not just a financial transition. It's an emotional and relational one. It changes how we see ourselves, how we show up for others, and how we navigate closeness, space, and identity. Some couples grow stronger than ever. Others discover cracks that were quietly there all along. And for those entering this season of retirement as a single person, retirement can bring a fresh sense of loneliness, but it can also bring unexpected possibilities. So today we're going to talk about all of that. So thank you for joining us. When do the roles shift? When does the quiet earthquake in relationships happen? For decades, many couples operate with a kind of unspoken choreography. One partner may be the provider, the other the manager of the home, the emotional anchor, or the protector of the family's routine. Whether this dynamic was traditional, reversed, or something in between, it created a kind of rhythm, and retirement disrupts that rhythm. Suddenly, the partner who was always out working is home all the time. The partner who managed the day to day might feel watched, crowded, or second guessed. And both partners may struggle quietly with the same question: who am I now? Who are we now? What we're seeing across the board, especially in couples married 25, 30, 40 years, is that retirement forces recalibration. Not in a crisis way, but in a very humanistic way. The identities of provider or the protected, like we discussed in the last episode, begins to fade, and what replaces them is less familiar. An emotionally balanced partnership where both people are invited to show up more vulnerably, more collaboratively, and more authentically is what we strive for. This can be beautiful, but it can also be uncomfortable. If you felt this tension in your relationship, you're not alone. So let's talk specifically about gendered expectations. Even when we think we've outgrown them, many men entering retirement face an invisible loss: the loss of purpose that came from work, the loss of being needed, sometimes the loss of respect they believe was tied to their professional identity. This can show up as irritability, withdrawal, impatience, and a kind of low grade depression that no one really talks about or names. Women, on the other hand, especially those who have been the emotional managers of the relationship, maybe stepping into retirement with a sense of anticipation, more time for myself, more freedom, and hopefully a more equal distribution of emotional labor. Unfortunately, these two trajectories can often collide. A man who's suddenly home and searching for direction may lean emotionally on his partner in ways he never did before. A woman who finally feels ready to reclaim herself may feel smothered. And of course, these are generalizations because there may be those who have longed for and waited for this moment and just dive into it with a new flow, a new dance that's just perfectly choreographed. And that if that's your situation, I mean, I say that's magical and I'm happy for you. But neither of the other two situations are wrong. Both both are reacting to profound identity change. The healing comes in being willing to name the shifts. I don't feel as useful as I did before. I finally have time for me and I don't want to lose that. I'm not sure what my role is right now. I want us to renegotiate how we connect. These conversations aren't easy, but they are exactly what allows couples to bloom into a more conscious partnership. So, let's talk about relearning intimacy, both emotional and physical. Retirement can bring time and space, but closeness doesn't automatically follow. Many couples describe a surprisingly emotional distance after retirement. Others report rediscovering each other physically for the first time in years. Why the difference? You ask. Intimacy in retirement depends heavily on whether both partners feel respected in their new roles, whether autonomy and togetherness are balanced, whether resentment from earlier stages of life are addressed, and whether couples feel emotionally safe enough to be fully honest, not rushed, not assumed, not avoided. Sometimes it begins with very simple steps. Eating breakfast together without screens, taking walks, setting small rituals of connection, and, of course, agreeing on the boundaries about personal space. It's about relearning each other's love language, which can often shift as we age. And yes, in case you wondered, physical intimacy matters. Bodies change, hormones shift, desires fluctuate. But none of this is a reason to retreat or to withdraw. Retirement actually offers the perfect window to reconnect in ways that feel gentle, playful, and pressure free. But what you ask of those who are single? Because not everyone enters retirement partnered. For single adults, whether widowed, divorced, or never married, the emotional landscape looks different. Loneliness can be sharp in this stage. Not just the absence of companionship, but the absence of feeling seen. Many people fear that it's too late to find someone new. But something remarkable is happening in this chapter of life. Because guess what? More adults over 60 are dating than ever before. More are entering relationships that are healthier, more mature, and more emotionally aligned than what they experienced in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s. Well, why, you ask? Because by the time we reach this stage, we often know ourselves more deeply. We know what we want, we know what we won't tolerate, and we're able to communicate those needs in ways that the younger version of ourselves simply could not. For many singles, this is a time of exploration, not desperation. a time to build friendships that evolve naturally, a time to release the pressure of timelines and expectations, a time to rediscover joy, pleasure, companionship, and possibilities. So let's talk about some practical tools for couples and singles. For couples, we can create a weekly state of check in. What's the state of us? How are we doing? We can redivide the household tasks with intention and not habit. We can honor personal space without guilt. We can set new shared goals, a hobby, a project, a trip. We can name our emotions honestly before the resentment builds. So talk about your feelings honestly. For the individual, for the single person, you want to cultivate a social circle with people who energize you. You want to engage in activities that allow organic connections. You want to redefine what partnership means now, not what it meant decades ago. Be open to companionship in unconventional forms, in friendships, in community, and in spiritual connection. So, retirement is not the end of our relational growth. It is the beginning of a deeper, more authentic love, whether with a partner or with ourselves. Role shifts, needs change, identities evolve. But with intention and honesty, this stage can bring some of the richest emotional connections of your entire life. So, thank you for spending time with me on The Next Bloom. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone navigating these changes. You can find me on many social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify is my main channel, and of course on YouTube. And as always, I invite you to keep blooming in your relationships, your identity, and your inner life. Till next time.